Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weekly Meltdowns coverage of Big Brother Canada Season 9. It's been a while since I've been on this show. So the last time I was on this show was like when Tina was getting evicted, and I feel like so much has happened since then. Yeah.
You haven't been on since Tina got evicted?
No. Yeah, because I wasn't here last week, and we only talk on air about this once a week. So I missed the fake double eviction last week and everything. So it's been a while and I have a lot to say, but Beth, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. I'm mostly happy that, spoiler alert, just put it right there. Mostly happy that I no longer have to feel like people are yelling at me online all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I feel like I'm constantly under attack, my name.
Yeah.
First we had Holly, who was called Beth, and now we had this Beth, and I just feel like I need a Beth redemption.
Yes. Well, I think between Holly and Beth on this season, they're paving the way for you to sweep in and be the best Beth of all time, right?
Crown it.
I love it. So hello to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Sam, Yowie, Matt, Rory the Virgo. Hello. Rory, I love your impression of me. Last week I looked high and low for a Hawaiian shirt, but I think I have to go to a Brooklyn thrift store for that, and that's just not something I feel like signing myself up for.
And also a hello to Adrian and to Tanner.
Yes.
Oh, come on,
sorry, I missed those names. Because I am just on cloud 9, BB Can 9, cloud 9, call it what it is. I'm ready on this podcast tonight, Beth, to say that this is the best Big Brother season of all time.
Listen, I am here to support your opinion, not to agree with it. Because but here's the thing. I can't agree with something like that because I haven't seen every season. I am not as big of a Big Brother fan. I'm a big supporter of, I can say something like this is the best season I've seen, but I will never make claims to things that I haven't seen all of. So I will say that this is definitely one of the top couple of seasons. I think BB17 will always be in my heart, and I have a very big bias with that.
Oh, of course. I would expect nothing less.
In the past couple of years, this is far and away the best season of Big Brother I've watched.
Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible, and I feel like we're here at Final Four, right? And I still, Beth, have no idea who is going to win this thing.
That's what I really like. It's not a steamroll kind of situation. I just finished covering. I was going to say for Rob Has a Podcast, Drag Race.
Yeah.
We knew that Simone was going to win that. We knew it was like a runway for her success. Like there wasn't anything shocking about that. And that show was on for so many freaking months, so that's why I'm really excited to be watching something that,
Yeah.
A little bit of mystery going on.
Yes. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. I'll save that conversation for is this the best season ever for the end. I want to start with recapping everything from this weekend and kind of where we're at, the state of the house, all of that fun stuff. Because we are in the home stretch here, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the final four. So we saw Beth getting evicted tonight.
Hey.
So that was Braden's HOH. And so I want to start with talking about Braden because I feel like I am kind of disagreeing with what I'm seeing online about Braden as a player, as a person, yes, he's very entertaining and I want to root for him. I loved when he was saying both of you guys can go out, win the veto and win the damn thing. And I thought that was a funny, good moment from Braden. So I just want to start by saying yes, Braden is a lovely individual, very fun. Really great representative for the LGBT community as well, so that's always thumbs up from something I can speak on. But I think that Braden has really missed some opportunities in these past 2 weeks, big time. Okay. So let's rewind to the fake double eviction. He had a golden opportunity to, and I said this in the chat a couple times because I wasn't here last week, but he had a golden opportunity to use the veto on Tara and essentially get Kiefer out, which I think should be everyone's number one objective going into this home stretch.
So as annoying as Beth is on this episode, she makes incredibly valid points, which is why aren't we going for Kiefer? And I think the reason is they really still, even though I don't know how they still feel like this, I really feel like they needed to still break up this like Ty Beth kind of situation, which I don't know why they feel they need to do that, since Ty is so obviously working much more closely with Brayden at this point. Yeah. So if I were anybody else in the house, if you're going to target anybody besides Kiefer, I don't know why people aren't going for Ty.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird to me, and it's weird that like, so if I had to rank like people's chances of like winning in the end from people that are left, with Beth included, I would probably put Brayden still at the bottom, like even below Beth. So like what I really like struggled to understand is like why Brayden like targeted Beth with all of this power this week, right? Like he won HOH and veto. It like the power was all in his hands to get out Kiefer once again. And I feel like we've heard, like I've watched like the TikTok exit interviews with the jury members. They're really rooting for somebody to make a big move. They want to vote for somebody in the end who's made the biggest moves. And Brayden, with these 3 comp wins in a row, like while the wins itself are very impressive, what he has done with that power is not impressive to me.
I would argue that you have to think about everything from the jury and the jury's perspective. So I think that they're going to find this incredibly, this can only add to what Brayden's case is here. Right. I feel like by getting rid of and being able to orchestrate, which he did tell Beth in his goodbye message, he was really smart in how he used his goodbye message to say, I was in on the plan. I basically named it, like, here you go. What he's doing here is painting a resume that they're going to be able to talk about. So when they go, oh my God, he got Jed and then Beth out, 2 people that nobody was touching for like ever. Like, I think he's going to get a lot more credit than he probably deserves for what he was doing there. I think that from what we saw in the jury house tonight, I think that Tina, Victoria, and Rohan will be like, you know what, pretty good on him. And he's on a winning streak at the end. Nobody expected this from him. Look at where he's coming from. There's a lot of people who have won like this. There are a lot of people who have waited until the end of the game to really turn on the heat when it comes to doing stuff. And I always will, but I'll bring it back to Steve Moses. Okay. Yeah. Like there's nothing that Steve did. Hold on. People are calling me. I'm hanging up on him. Steve won so many of the last competitions because he needed to. And he did move. People were like, oh yeah. And he got rid of Vanessa because he needed to win. Like, oh, he got rid of the Ostwins because he needed, like, who else was he going to do? And it's the same thing, but people still, if you're on the jury, go, oh, you know what? He had the strength we didn't know he had. Yeah. You have to think of it like that from a jury perspective. So I do think Brayden actually stands a pretty good shot. I actually think regardless of the fact that Ty is clearly not going to get Jed or Beth's vote, Ty stands a really good shot. Yeah. So I think that there's just some really, Tara stands. I didn't realize that Beth was so gung-ho about Tara winning when she got out this week. So I think that there's something to be said about every single one of them. And I don't think we can say, oh, Brayden didn't do a good move. I think that right now, whoever gets out Kiefer is going to get just all of the applause from the jury at this point.
So in comparison to Big Brother 17, like let's follow along with that comparison here. So let's say like Steve has HOH and veto at Final 5, right? And he doesn't take the chance to take out Vanessa, and like that's his only chance. Does he still win at the end? I feel like Steve's like game-winning move was taking out Vanessa, and
at Final 3.
At Final 3, yeah. So like that's what I think like Brayden's winning condition is. Like, am I saying that Brayden has no chance to win? Certainly not. Like I think if he takes out Kiefer somehow with like some more comp wins, like in this last stretch of the game, he very well could, because everybody sees Kiefer as like the Vanessa of the season. Like, is he as good of a player as Vanessa? Certainly not, but like perception's reality.
He does have a very similar thing, right? So he got himself weaseled out of being backdoored just like Vanessa did. Yeah. In a very similar time of the game. Vanessa was supposed to go home and instead Shelly goes. why.
Right.
And it's because she was able to find a way to appeal to people's both sensitivities as well as to their game strategy.
Yeah.
And what did it do? It bit everybody in the ass for not keeping Shelly over Vanessa. And the same thing is happening here. I truly believe that Brayden has like a Steve Moses edit right now, or like how his game is going to work out. But you're 100% right. I do think that some of the conditions here are going to be, who does he eliminate?
Yeah.
And he
I think,
has
like,
to be the one to do it.
Even more than that, Beth, I think the conditions surrounding a Brayden win are almost like out of Brayden's hands in terms of like anything that he's doing right and something that Ty is doing wrong, which is like what I want to shift next to, because I've seen like the Beth's eviction party like all over Twitter and stuff, and like she's been like pretty unbearable like personally to watch, like especially this week and last week, screaming like Final Four and stuff like that. That's always like a little cringy to watch. But this whole like situation with Ty, it's really reminding me of Paul from Big Brother 19. And he is just like gaslighting Beth like so much this week, and I've seen her like just totally break down on the live feeds because like she knows that he is lying straight to her face, and furthermore being like, Beth, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we've been playing this. I'm not going to vote to evict you. And like, she has the proof, like with the evidence of like how he voted last week to take out Jed. So like, that's like even more infuriating for her.
I don't. And here's the thing. She has every right to be as angry and frustrated and everything as she was, because absolutely. But she's also lying as well. So like, she's not some like perfect queen who's playing these conversations tonight on the show proved that all they're doing is trying to gaslight each other. But Ty's in a position of power because he's not on the block and he has sway and power with people. Beth doesn't. So it's more frustrating for Beth. But the conversation they had in the kitchen where Ty was literally like you've been doing all game. That's not a lie. She literally has been doing that all game. She literally has been gaslighting people all game. So I have a hard time getting to a point where I feel really bad for her, but I can understand where she's coming from. I would find it very frustrating myself. It's not doing Ty any favors. And he said the ultimate nail in the coffin line tonight on the show: I don't care if I get her vote.
Yeah.
He's not gonna win. Because the moment you start saying, I don't care about jury management and I don't care if I get their vote to win, you turn into Tyler Crispin. You turn into Paul. You turn into all these people who made it to the end and did play a superior game, but could not make people feel good on the way out. Now, all of that said, is it just Beth and Jed's votes that he's going to lose? Potentially.
So I think, of course, like with everything that happened with Jed last week, like I think Victoria is going to like really not like that betrayal. She was like really with Jed, Ty, and Beth and like really trying to work with them and everything. So I feel like she's not going to like that move from Ty very much. And, we have to think like how big of a pedestal like everybody in this game put Jed on for whatever reason, right? Like Kiefer won more comps than Jen did. But perception is reality. Jed was like the big target to get out, blah, blah, blah. But I just like lost my train of thought.
No worries.
But you're so right about like, it's really cool to see this like stone cold killer in Ty, like making these like badass moves, like turning on his allies. Like me, Tyler, the robot strategist, like I can fully get behind that, but you have to follow through with like, just like talking to them a little bit, like compare like Ty like gaslighting Beth, like, I don't know what you're talking about, Beth, have fun in jury, like screaming that from the top of the stairs, compared to how like Kiefer went up to Beth like while she was laying in bed, he sat next to her and said like, you're not going to take me to the end. Like I don't see like a path forward for us working together in this game. And I hope you can understand that. And look at how she took to both of those different types of.
But again, a lot of that had to do with what Beth was doing with them. It's not just how do they respond in this situation. It's also what is Beth doing to put Ty in an impossible position. What could he say? You're so right. I'm going to vote. I'm not going to vote to keep, or I'm not going to vote you out. That'd be a lie.
what he could say
in that situation.
I mean, Beth is like literally like on that couch with Ty being like, I just want you to be honest with me and tell me that you're voting me out. Like, that is all I want. And like,
and he did.
It really took him a while to get there. Like,
I'm sure
days.
He did say multiple times on this episode tonight. He said it once in the kitchen. He said it on the couch. And I know this is all edited together to make it seem like it happened within 5 minutes. It happened over many hours throughout the week. He did admit, I'm voting you out.
Yeah.
And so what more do you want from him at this point? If you're going to continually badger him, Beth, I'm sorry. This does come back on you. And clearly she, you know, I want to give her some props here for as honestly as shrill as she kind of was this past week. And I really don't like using that word because I feel like it's very misogynistic to say, because we only say people are shrill when they're women. But she literally like fits that definition for how she's been the past couple of weeks. She really did leave with a lot of class, a lot of love and warmth and wishing people good luck and those kind of things. I don't know if once she's had some time to kind of calm down, how bitter of a jury member she's going to be. I think that she really wants to root for Tara. I don't know if Tara stands a chance to get to the end. If she does, I mean, I think that'd be really exciting. I think Tara versus anybody in the finals would be very, very exciting to watch.
Yeah. I would be really interested to see a Tara Kiefer final too, and how that would shake down. And I was really looking at, so we can kind of like shift to like Tara's story next, but I was really interested to see how Jed would tell the jury about like the events that unfolded that week, how he like talked about like his demise and like Tara winning and coming back. The jury seemed very impressed with Tara's game, and I was really watching to see how Jed described Tara's like eviction, and I think like this is where BB Can's like awful branding with like calling it a fake double eviction versus like just like a stupid like battle back, which is really what it is.
What
like,
it was, yeah.
But calling it a fake double eviction, there's always that like connotation that like if you're voted out, you should never win, and like I have said that multiple times on this podcast, but I feel like with the branding of like fake double eviction, she never went out to talk to Arissa. She went right back to the HOH room and competed. She was never like removed from the game, and then all of them came back to compete together type of thing. So I feel like that kind of helps her favor in terms of saying like, no, I was here the whole time. Like it was a fake double eviction. Like, is that like really the case? Like, no, she was really evicted, you know, in like a fair round of the game type of thing. But you know, that's how Jed told everybody in the jury, and they were like really gung-ho about Tara winning that and taking him out. And so I think that
Tara has a really good chance of winning this game if she gets to final two. I don't think there's a single person besides maybe Kiefer. I feel like Kiefer versus Tara would be the most interesting final two we could have.
Yeah, and I would love that, because like I mean like it's really been interesting to watch Tara over this season, right? Like I feel like myself included, nobody really took her seriously as a player. We were calling her like very messy, very explosive, like the first few weeks, and kind of like playing like Tina's game, like second fiddle type of thing. But then like once Tina was evicted, once Tara won her first competition, I feel like it really gave her a lot of confidence to really just come into her own as a player in this game. And, you know, the trapdoor thing would not have happened if she didn't do all of those conversations with Jed and convince him to use the veto on Beth instead of himself.
I think it'll be really interesting too, because I feel like not to the same extent strategically in this game, but because in a more subdued gameplay, Brayden has also had a very similar, when Austin left, that gave him the ability to be able to play the game the way he needed to get to the end.
Yes.
And so I really feel like out of the four that are there, Brayden's not getting cut by anybody.
Yeah.
I honestly can't see a way for Brayden not to go to the end, because I feel like everybody thinks I can win against Brayden.
Yeah.
They might think that about Tara, but I think that there's more scared of Tara than they are of Brayden. So if they had to go against that, Ty would cut Tara over Brayden. Kiefer would cut Tara over Brayden.
Yeah.
I don't see a way. And I think that Tara would bring Brayden. I don't see a way for Brayden not to make it to the final two. And I have to give him props for that, because it's not like he hasn't done anything. He's played a very subdued game, but he has done those little gem of a moments. Being able to use goodbye messages is the most important thing. And people don't do it enough. He's the only one I've seen who's still in the game who is using goodbye messages to where he needs to be.
Yes, like, I will say that I was impressed with him, like, kind of taking ownership of the trapdoor move. Like, I mean,
totally.
Was it like really all him? No, but like that doesn't even matter, because
it doesn't matter, because
really
all you're doing is, especially in a goodbye message, that adds a level of authenticity to the person receiving it, because they're like, wow, he didn't tell me in the game. He waited until my goodbye message. You could literally lie in your goodbye messages, people. You could literally say, I'm the one who orchestrated all this, and I know, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, blah, 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 blah. What are they going to do? They're going to go to jury. And even if other people are like, that doesn't sound accurate, be like, well, he said it in his goodbye message. Like, people, use your goodbye messages. Why continue to play the game? Because the game's not over.
Yeah, I mean, it is your last impression, and it's your last chance to, with nobody else's influence or anything like that, like really sell yourself and kind of change the narrative, right? So like by him saying like, I was in on the Jetson plan, it was called the trap, like even like naming it, I think like gives it like a lot of authenticity, which is really smart. Where like realistically, if Tyler Lyons is telling the story of how the week went down, Braden was okay with being a pawn on the block. Like that's how I see it. But like he is taking ownership of that, and that's all that matters. It doesn't even matter that that's how Tyler Lyons like sees the week. If Braden is claiming that as like it was Operation Trapdoor, we took out the biggest threat in the house, and look at me now winning 3 comps in a row. Like, yeah, did he really do anything special with it? No, but like that doesn't matter.
Know that, and that's the best part. And this is why I'm I really feel like Braden has a better shot than a lot of people are giving him credit for. Besides Braden stands, I think Braden stands are obviously there for it, but I think that he's really used the past 2 weeks to his advantage, and he's been smart about this. He hasn't just like willy-nilly gone out. He's been kind of like a scorpion who's like been waiting and has his stinger raised and is like, okay, now boom, I'm good. And he's been really good about timing, getting in with the right people, not making him too much of a threat. He's won 3 competitions and still nobody's saying, oh, we got to get rid of Braden. Beth was still on the Kiefer train, which obviously he couldn't get out this week because he was HOH. Braden was. But they're still thinking about Kiefer. They're thinking about Tara, and they're thinking about Ty. Nobody is thinking about Braden. Like, this is amazing.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it really is like anybody's game at this point. And I just like what I want out of Braden, Beth. I would love to have my mind be changed and like to see him have like a badass like ending game. That would be really, really cool and very fitting for this season because it's out of nowhere. What I need to see from Braden, what Tyler needs to see from Braden, for me to say like he is a good player, I need him to have a little bit more steering the ship with these conversations, right? Like, so Taryn on the live feed update this morning said it like really wonderfully. Anytime Braden is having like a strategy conversation with somebody, like say it's Ty, say it's Keith, say it's Tara, they're like, we really should take this person out. We should work together. It's never Braden being like, okay, what about this? What about that? It's always like, yes, absolutely. Oh, I totally agree. Yes, 1000%. Just like, yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm totally with you. Yeah. Just like really like, just like reassurance.
If he can own that role in a final 2 and make it an important part of his speech, that's a non-issue. If he says my role, because I know the ego of Ty and Tara, I know that they feel like whatever they're going to come up with is great. I just need to reassure them. I just need to make sure that I'm going, yeah, you're right. That's so great. You're so smart. Yes, we should do this. Absolutely. If he's proactive, not answering a question about it, if he is proactive and forthcoming with that in his thing, line and sinker, like he's got it. Like that is exactly it, what he needs to do, because it's no different than somebody stroking the ego of a more powerful, aggressive player. just to get themselves further in the game, to make that person's always going to be the bigger target. That person's going to be the one that gets their blood on their hands, but I'm equally a part of the plot. And if you're saying yes, no, if you're just kind of going along with whatever the conversation is, you are helping to formulate it, because what you're doing is helping to say that person's going to go, okay, I'm going to take the action to go do this. So what you've basically done is said, this person came up with a plan, was hoping I was going to help put it into action, like as if I would be the one who does it. Instead, I just nodded and said yes, and that person went, okay, I'm going to go do it. I'm so excited. And they're the ones who go and do it. So I think that this is something that's really important for Brayden to be able to own in his final two. If he doesn't, that's to his detriment.
Yes, and I also do want to say, like, this, we're grading on a curve this season.
Totally.
Like, I am, like, no matter how this season shakes out, no matter who wins at the end, I am not going to say this is one of the best winners, one of the best players of all time, because all four of these players left have played pretty terribly. I mean, like, Kiefer, like, everybody's saying like he's going to win at the end because he's played the best game. Like, we've heard the jurors say that over and over and over again. Really, like, a lot of stock in Kiefer as a player. But we saw tonight him telling Brayden, who was the HOH and veto winner, it would be a really great move if you backdoored me. Please don't do that. Like, why are you putting this into his head? And that's the thing. Like, him saying in front of Tara, like, oh, I don't, Beth, you don't know if you're staying or going. Like, just like little nuances like that.
And then also, like, you shouldn't have told us that, Beth.
Right.
But that's like, that's the other thing that I think is really interesting, right? Beth gets so blown up over Ty, which I can understand because she and Ty have been very close, had the will they, won't they, showmance kind of situation, blah, 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 throughout the entirety of the game. Kiefer, in my opinion, did way more gaslighting in what we were able to see than Ty did, but she doesn't get as upset about that. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is that Kiefer is able to get away with these comments for no reason. Like, it makes no sense.
I think it's because, like, he's played a lot more of the middle. Like, he's like floated between alliances and whoever's in power a lot more than like the Sauce did before, like, the whole like breakup of the throuple happened. Like, I feel like no matter who was HOH, we saw Kiefer going, let's go, yeah, and like really running to them and celebrating.
Do you think that Kiefer has played one of the better rat floater games we've ever seen? Even if it's not like, I don't think he's like Andy Herron level, but I think that he's
that comparison, and I don't think
I don't see that. I don't see that. I feel like Kiefer goes, oh shit, I gotta go over here. Yeah. But he doesn't have like the strategic thinking of it. It's like he feels like he has to go over here, or like he just like luckily stumbles into things.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, I feel like it's a lot of luck where the wind has blown. And I think a lot of that credit goes to Ty just like jumping ship and like taking like all emotions and friendships out the window. I think that he's really benefited from that too.
I only want to highlight this comment because Tanner is a subscriber on my channel, and he used my favorite emote of mine, which is the one. So thank you, Tanner, for. It's like, this is like the best podcast. All you have to do is just spam that emote for anybody we're talking about, and it makes all the sense with whatever we're talking about.
I think says this is a really good point. June Song will be the queen of floaters.
Oh, 100%. And I don't even know much about BB4, but I do know that
she invented and perfected the strategy.
Yeah. But she was like a floater. Andy was like a rat floater, from what I understand. Yeah. Like, the rat being the person who just kind of like funnels information and
well, Andy, like his whole thing was like he played the rat floater game with such intention, where like that intention is what I don't see from Kiefer, right? Like, we would see Andy like literally like leave things like in rooms to go back and get them and like interrupt conversations and like maybe like overhear something that he shouldn't be. I don't see Kiefer like doing that and then like being like, yeah, look what I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very much, and Another thing that drives me nuts about Kiefer, Beth, is I feel like he in particular really plays up the I really need this money. It could change my life. Like I hate when people bring it up as like a charity event instead of like whoever played the best game should get the money type of thing. And that rubs me the wrong way about Kiefer. I never saw Andy do anything like that too.
Tanner, are your pronouns she, her, hers? Because please correct me. I had no idea. Also, this goes for anybody in our chat. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Tyler, what are yours?
Mine are he, him.
And if we ever misgender you, please tell us so we can fix that. Please. Tanner's literally been in my community for like ever. And I've been like, if I've been misgendering for like this many years, I am so sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
An important side note. Sorry.
Yes, please. Sorry, I'm just like catching up with all the chat and everything.
You guys have been chatting a lot. We have been reading. We just have so much that we're trying to get up. And you guys are putting so much wonderful.
Yes, and I also want to say, like, this is just a general comment. Like, if you disagree with me in the chat, that's fine. But like, let's keep it like productive and not just say like Tyler's wrong and like make me feel like shit, please. That would be much appreciated. Thank you.
And this is what I like here. Like, if you're going to disagree, say something like, "I disagree that blah 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 blah," and I understand. Like, this is a wonderful comment.
Tyler doesn't know everything. Like, none of this really matters. It's reality television.
Yeah. Listen, we have bigger problems in the world. Having productive, fun conversations and just like little slides here and there at each other is fine. But like, yeah,
let's be nice.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. And Pokemon says, I am he, him, just FYI. And Tanner says, you never have. Yes, I'm she, her. Okay. Thank you so much, Tanner. I will note that from here on out. I just assumed the name Tanner had he, him pronouns, but you know what happens when you assume. You make an ass out of you and me. So
that's true.
Thank you,
so
Tanner.
I want to say, like, I'm rooting for Tara to win this HOH because I feel like it would be so fun to see Kiefer, Ty, and Brayden like have to go against each other, right? Like we are at the point in the season where like it's all down to that Final Four veto, which is like, in my opinion, like the most important competition of the whole season. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, and I think that you're absolutely right on that. And as people are sharing their pronouns in chat, I just want to share them out loud too. So Adrian Celeste says, yeah, Beth, just in case my pronouns are he, him. I'm sorry if my Twitter profile of Devon confuses you because other podcasters made that mistake. Thank you so much, Adrian, for sharing that. That is incredibly helpful. And I if I have misgendered you in the past, please know that I'm so sorry for doing that. Won't do it again.
Yes. But
Yowie is he, him. Yay.
Yeah, so I'm rooting for Tara to win this HOH here because I feel like we've seen a lot of coming together for like Ty, Kiefer, and Brayden over the last few weeks. And I want to see how it shakes out when like it's only the three of them left to go after each other. And so I want Tara to like be out of that, like just like play for safety here. Because I feel like it's easy for the three of them to just say like, you know, no matter how it shakes out, like let's just take out Tara here. Like she has like a pretty good resume and she can win at the end type of thing.
I'm so interested to see who wins this. Who do you think out of the four is the least likely person to win?
This competition or
like the entire season?
It's so like this is what I love about this season, Beth, is like I can't even tell you after watching.
You can make a case for and against every single person.
And like we just covered Big Brother 10 this past summer. Like that's what I like would say was like the best season before this, but like I really cannot think of a time. I've been watching the live feed since Big Brother 8. I can't think of a time ever in Big Brother US or Canada history where like it has been so fluid. Like everybody has lied to each other. Everybody has screwed each other over. There is no hierarchy of like a Cody or a Derek or like anybody that's like at the top. There's no Janelle that's like winning every competition is like untouchable. And the season is just so fluid. And it's just been like such an exciting ride from start to finish. And like so I'm looking at like the cast as a whole, right? Like, so Big Brother 10, for example, I would say like every HOH week was good, except for like the more boring weeks were like the Steven and the Angie boots, I think, were like the season. I really think the only like week that we had was when Kyle was evicted. And I mean, he still had that like giant fight with Kiefer in the storage room. Like he still brought something to the season. Like just looking for like pound for pound, like character for character, like Julie Vu. Great first boot, like explosive gameplay. Josh, need I say no more about like all the fights that he started, right? Let's see who else. Latoya. God, Latoya was like the creator of the Sunsetters, and she like flipped her vote and like changed the house's dynamics like a million times right before the vote happened. And so like us going into these evictions, we're like, we have no idea who the hell is going to be voted out here. I mean, Tina played this like really stealthy badass game. Victoria, such a hot mess. I'm sure will be an all-star coming back. Rohan, the veto king.
I like that you skipped over Austin, because even in the chat, someone said Austin didn't offer a ton of excitement, did she? And then you skipped over her. It's so funny.
I mean, the case for Austin is a little tougher. Go ahead, Beth.
But I will say, Austin did. I mean, not that Austin had like this explosive personality or anything like that, but Austin was in some power. Austin was the one that said, "Get out of here." To what was it, Josh or Latoya?
I think it was to Josh. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like she wasn't a non-entity. She was winning comps. She was, you know, she had power. She made some decisions and stuff. She just wasn't like Victoria. You know what I mean? When you had other bigger people in the house in terms of personality and such, then it's harder to compete.
Yeah, and I thought that Austin was like overall like a very likable character too, like especially for what we thought she was going to be with her intro package. All of us were like, I don't know about her. She seems like a recruit, but she actually knew her shit. She won the that like arrow holding, the crossbow holding HOH endurance comp. So I mean, like, so let's put her in the A category with Kyle. I would still take Austin and Kyle over Steven and Angie and Big Brother 10. You know, I thought that they were better. I thought that the twists, like the fake double eviction, like drove us nuts because the feeds were shut off for 4 days. But like, it is what it is with Big Brother Canada with that. Like it's tied to like sponsorships, and like, you know, they need like the most amount of viewers watching the shows for like the product placements, the Wendy's, the Expedia, the Weber that we saw tonight of it all, like that type of thing. So like I can only
dishes.
Yeah, like I can only be mad so much at that when like it's because of that we even get Big Brother Canada. Let's be real. So like it is what it is, but like the other twist of the season, the invisible HOH, I thought was a really good idea. You know, was Victoria good in her execution? No, but like that's even
Victoria
better.
was also kind of in an impossible situation of it too, because had she lost that HOH, like people would have pinned it on her anyway. So I feel like it's just.
And honestly, Beth, like after the Michelle boot in Big Brother 10, we had a pretty good idea that like Dan had like a pretty clear path to the end, right? Like you could see like how he could like wiggle his way there. And like I still here at Final Four have no idea who is going to pull out this season.
Have you ever had a season where you didn't know who was going to win at the Final Four, or like, or if so and so makes it to Final Four, but there's a like, even if it's a slim chance that they make it, but if they make it, they definitely win. Like, has there ever been a place where you have said, ooh, actually?
Where I'm just like, I have no idea who the hell is going to win this thing. I'm like looking at like the list of seasons here. Because
I mean, the final, what we're talking about here is not like if so-and-so makes it the final two, they win.
Yeah.
Like we literally don't know who wins out of these Final Four, right? So like if you took even like BB21, right? We knew that if Mickey makes it to the end, he wins.
Yeah.
We thought maybe if Nicole makes it to the end, she wins. If
Nicole
she was like,
gets to the end, she wins against anybody, you know?
Again, right?
Yeah.
But she was, so when we looked at that Final Four, we went, we have a pretty good idea that's either going to be this person or this person. We have no idea. We go, it can be this person, this person, this person, or this person. Like, I mean, literally, like there's nothing we can do.
I like my only, as weird as this is, I think Big Brother 19 is actually a good example of like, you know, a lot of us thought like maybe Christmas would pull out the win at the end. It was like Christmas, Josh, Paul, and who was in the Final Four?
I've blocked this season out.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
And then wasn't Kevin, right? Kevin was 5th.
Let me see.
Alex.
Let's see. Kevin.
Okay.
So like, like we between like those three, like Kevin, not so much, but like between those three, we were like, we don't know who's gonna win this. But like the question was like, is Paul going to win or not? Like the fact that like I feel like the Venn diagram like overlap of like the season being so like fluid and up in the air with who wins and like us being interested in the result, that overlap is so thin, and I feel like that's where BB Can 9 is, right?
Totally.
Like we are hyped coming down the stretch here when like, like for Big Brother 22 All-Stars, was I like watching the live feed updates every morning? Was I like interested in like seeing like all of the YouTube clips and stuff like that of the feeds? No, because everybody knew that Cody was going to win. It was either Cody's game to win or lose. And that's the thing is like, there's no like one like juggernaut of the season. Like, and does that make for like good storytelling? Like not necessarily, but like the ride has been so fun.
Totally. Well, Pokemon in the chat said BB Can 3.
Yeah. So BB Can 3, I really liked that season. A lot of people didn't because there was a lot of like production interference to make sure the person that wins that season gets there at the end. But it was pretty up in the air as well, I will say. So I think that's a good answer too. I like Big Brother Canada 3 though. So. And
Matt Henning, even though this isn't Big Brother, Matt Henning says, I'm watching Survivor Amazon right now. That Final Four was like a Final Four like this, maybe outside of Butch.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Amazon in a long time. Yeah.
Me neither. I don't think I've watched it since it aired. So I would love to like go back and rewatch that season. There's
a few of these seasons. If any of you are following along with Rob has a podcast like 40 season countdown where each week the patrons in the podcasters of RHAP voted and put together basically a composite list of ranking all 40 seasons.
Yeah.
And a month ago, I was on doing South Pacific when at number 29. But in this past week was All Stars, which is fun because Rob Sesternino was on that show or on that season. So
I've had such a blast like listening to him like talk about like the short list of people that didn't make it, like behind the scenes stuff. It's been a really good listen. So like it's like 4 hours long, but I'm enjoying like every second of it.
Henning goes, is it spoilers if I talk about a season that happened in 2003? I doubt it. Yeah. Rob was on Amazon as well, but and basically the point here is like there's a lot of people who are binge watching every season to listen to the podcast each week, and I am not that committed, but I definitely think that Amazon might be worth doing it.
And as somebody
because of Rob being on the show too,
and as somebody who like watches the feeds, like listens to all the updates, like Beth, I can't think of a time where I've ever been as excited to like tune in and hear like the updates and see what happens. And that's what I think like this season will be remembered for is like the roller coaster ride that this season
totally.
has been. I can't say enough good things about the season. And if Big Brother Canada 10 is like an all-star season, we have our pick of the litter here from house guests to bring back. I mean, even the comps, like they have not been physical, right? Like they have like all been very equal. Even like the comp with Jed and Tara to come back into the house was so equal. And I feel like that is so important to a good season is like not having like super physical competitions because we've seen like the power shift to so many different people over the course of this season. And it's been like insanely different, like every HOH reign. This season is so good. I can't
totally agree.
Stress enough about it. So let's update everybody on our drafts because yes, I have
Valencia. I mean, we really gave Valencia like the best team.
We really did. And yeah, I would say like going into the season, I was like, yeah, I think Valencia's and Andrew's teams are, and they're okay. But like, look at Valencia now. She's double dipping here in the Final Four. So
I mean, she stands a 50% shot of winning the title here for our My Weekly Meltdown draft. All I'm saying is if Ty wins this season, I would have had the winner and the first place boot.
Oh shit, that's really cool. I like that.
Put it out there.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else to really talk about, but like,
wait, guys, don't put stuff in the chat about All Stars 2 for Drag Race, just in case we end up watching it. Just putting it out there.
Okay. Yes.
So ignore anything you're seeing from Twitter, from Twitch right now.
Who do you think's gonna win this Final Four HOH?
Tara.
And how do you see, like, so say like Tara wins HOH this week, how do you see this week like shaping out in terms of like who wins the veto and is like the sole vote to evict?
I think Tara wins HOH. I think Kiefer wins veto. I think Ty goes. That's
exactly the the order of operations that I could see happening as well. So, and
I think
what a cool final three that would be.
Absolutely. I think it would be so poetic that Jed, Beth, and Ty went boom, boom, boom right after each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you imagine everybody's faces? Like, after Beth, like, tells the jury, like, yeah, Ty is, like, treated Jed and I like total shit, and then, like, he's the next one to come in the door. How poetic would that be? And then, like, you know, Ty says, like, Kiefer's the one that took me out. I think that's even a bigger case for Kiefer. And then so maybe Tara and Brayden, they say to each other, like, listen, like, you know, Kiefer basically took out like that whole trio, right? Like, he had a hand in getting all three of those people out.
And Brayden also.
Yeah. So let's take him out. Like, yeah.
So Tara, I think it's gonna be interesting. If Tara okay, let's talk about some other scenarios. Say that let's say that Brayden wins veto. Who is Brayden?
I think Brayden evicts Kiefer. I think Brayden and like, of course, like all the stuff on the feeds with like Beth telling calling out Ty for like saying like, you know, the Brayden's like sexual advances to him like are not welcomed. Like, Ty did say that, like, but like it wasn't that big of a deal because like when the feeds came back, Ty and Brayden like had apologized to each other and they had actually locked in a final two with each other. And I think Brayden is very loyal to that final two.
Yeah.
So I think Brayden does vote to evict Kiefer here.
Yeah. I think that if Tara wins veto.
Who's HOH in that situation? Oh, like if Tara wins HOH and veto?
Let's pretend at this point it doesn't matter who HOH is. Let's just say, like, who is Tara likely going to vote for?
Okay,
if given the opportunity, who is she going to vote for?
Okay, so, that's interesting. I think Tara goes for. God, I want to say Tara goes for Kiefer. I really do. I think that she recognizes that he's the best player left in the game in the eyes of the jury.
Do you think Kiefer goes for Ty then? Because I think so. Like, we kind of just said that. Or do you think Kiefer goes for Tara?
That's what I'm like torn between.
It depends on who's HOH kind of thing.
Yeah. Gosh. I think ultimately Kiefer would take out Tara because like in his mind, like he's already done it once before. Like, it's easier to like fuck somebody over twice than screw two different people over, if that makes any sense. Like, he's voted her out before. So
Kiefer and Ty, have they made up? Because they were not good with each other last week.
So I think that like the whole theme of this season is like marriage of conveniences in terms of like strategy and like voting blocks instead of like actual people legit working together. Like, we've seen Tara and Kiefer say like, you're my number one in this game. I trust you. We need each other. And then like the first moment Kiefer could, he takes out Tara and says like, oh, it's because I think you're going to win. Like, that type of thing. So like, that's the thing is like these people's words like literally mean nothing. Everybody's lying to each other. Everybody is just kind of like waiting to see what happens type of thing. Yeah. Is it like sloppy gameplay? Yes. But is it like very fluid and fun? Absolutely.
But I think we can agree that regardless of who wins HOH and all that kind of stuff, if given the opportunity, I don't think anybody takes a shot at Brayden.
Let's see. I mean, if Kiefer...
So let's say Kiefer wins HOH.
Let's say Tara wins HOH and Kiefer wins veto. I think that's a situation where he could take out Brayden.
Or I honestly think he'll take out Ty before Brayden.
You think so?
Yeah. I really think that in his mind, it's been back and forth, Ty and him, like who's going to take the shot. And that's the last opportunity. And I don't think he sees Braden as competition for the final three.
Which he should.
Which he should, but he won't. So I think what he does there is he takes out Ty.
What's interesting is like Ty's won like the least amount of comms out of like the people left, but I feel like he has the biggest like threat target level in terms of like we need to take him out because he's going to win type of thing.
If Ty wins HOH, he will have gone the entire season without sitting on the block.
Yes, and that is something that is talked about on the feeds quite often. So like that's on everybody's radars as well. So that might be another reason why Kiefer wants to take him out over Braden. But with these people, you really, really never know.
I think this is exciting. I'm also really excited that they're not drawing this out in any way and that next week is the finale because I think we're done. I think this is a good season. Don't draw it out any more than you need to. And I think compared to something like the Challenge or Drag Race or something that has just gone on a little
Big
too
Brother
long,
US, like compared to like the length of BB Can seasons.
You know what? I like having 13 people over 16.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a full 16 cast. And even if you do 16, like let's speed it up, people.
Yeah, totally.
Do a double eviction before jury and do a double at least one in jury.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the thing is like, I really wish my only complaint about this season is I wish they did like the stupid fake double eviction during Ro and Victoria's double eviction instead. And just like not have a second double eviction, right? Like how exciting would it have been if Rohan and Victoria had to compete against each other for one of them to come back into the game. And that's like the person like goes back in, the other person is the first juror. Like I feel like that's a really good place to have like that bull honky twist happen instead of like the final six. But what do I know?
I would also say it would have been really interesting if they had made the fake double eviction happen during the invisible HOH reign.
Yeah.
So or if they had said, just kidding, this week doesn't count. Who do you think the invisible HOH was? Kind of thing. You know, like if they had just, I don't know. I think that there's things they could have done to change up when they did certain twists or combine certain things. But
like those notes, Beth, are like so minor compared to like the list of complaints I had during last year for Big Brother 22. All the shit talking I had about BB21, Big Brother 20, all that fun stuff. Like it's so minimal.
I literally became a regular guest on this podcast because you just gave up on BB21. Like they literally just started bringing me in and they were like, Allison was like, I played in a mini with Beth and she watches the show, so she'll join. And I just remember you and I didn't meet until the fall when Island of the Idols came on because you were like, well, yeah, it sounds like Beth likes Survivor. Like, let's bring her. But Survivor's much more of my bread and butter. Yeah. So I was like, this will be great. Tyler and I could talk about Survivor. It'll be a lot of fun. And like, I had never met you during the Big Brother stuff because you were just like, fuck this.
I was so over it. And like, it feels good because like, I'm so passionate about the game of Big Brother and like the potential that it could be. And I feel like this season is like a lot closer to where I see like the potential of the Big Brother franchise compared to like the shit that we've had like for the past few years. And I hope that Big Brother US is like really paying attention to everything that has been so good this season because we would be better off for it.
It goes beyond what the comps are and these twists and those kind of things. And it goes at the end of the day to the casting.
Yeah.
We had a more diverse cast than ever. We had people of different ages. We had people of different racial backgrounds and whatever the case might, like sexuality, all these different kinds of things. And there was an authenticity about even the recruits of this season that just made it more exciting. And so people, I know that you're a big advocate that this is better than BB10, but one of the things when we rewatched BB10 last summer that we kept talking about is look at the casting of the show. Even
all
for
women
what
over
it was,
30.
all women over 30. Like we had an older man on the show. We had an older woman on the show. We had a few more people of color than they did at that time, which is by 2021 standards, absolutely not acceptable.
Yeah.
but they cast people, not types.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would really, and I think that they honestly did that here, because you can't tell me that Jed and Ty weren't the same type.
Right.
You can't tell me that. What they did was they said Jed and Ty are two individuals that would be good game players on the season, or would bring something for entertainment on the season. And boy, were they right. And I will stand by. It was so refreshing to watch two men who absolutely didn't have any toxic masculinity when it came to like the personal parts of this game, that came to some of the gameplay.
And they certainly could have fallen into that trap, like fighting over the same girl, you know, having each other to like validate each other's like masculinity and like presence in the game, but they didn't. And
they broke stereotypes too. Like who puts two dudes in a clawed bathtub multiple times?
Yeah.
And doesn't like nobody, not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but nobody was like, look at how gay they are. Like that like as an insult, like that's not what it was. Like that's the kind of shit that we need to normalize. And I'm so happy that they found guys that were just like decent human beings that could play this game and play it cutthroat like Ty does, and play it like, you know, with this sense of leadership that Jed did, but like not have it come back to like what their identity is versus anything else that we've ever watched. It's always like, well, we can't vote out so-and-so because they're XY marginalized identity, or we are going to vote them,
right,
or we are going to vote them out because they're the XY and they're not fitting in with our group. Fuck that. Like this is where it comes, where diversity and representation and validation, all those things come together to make a much more entertaining season.
Let's not forget about the pre-jury either. Like we had our first transgender house guest in BB Can history,
who was also of Middle Eastern descent.
Yeah.
So like,
we had a black bisexual cop. We had Josh, who was like a very introverted gay, which I really appreciated, like being somebody that feels like I don't get cast because I'm not a Frankie Grande type of like super loud, flamboyant type of gay. Like it's so refreshing to see somebody that's like a little bit like more like quiet and introverted and weird, and just who happens to be a gay man type of thing. You know what I mean? Just like,
and even Austin, I think people assumed Austin would be like,
I thought she was going to be like a Kim Kardashian.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Everyone thought she was just going to be some like pretty girl who like was like,
well, that was her whole like bio video, was like, I love my sister, we're like BFFs. Like it gave me like
totally. But we did get to see her, like, even if she did play somewhat into that role, like we did see a game player in her, and like that's what I think is really interesting and fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. And either way, it shakes out like with the winner of the season, because this is the last time we'll talk about it before we know who the winner is. No matter who gets to the end, we have either like the first like Indigenous person to win Big Brother. We have one of the like the first Black man to win Big Brother in Brayden or Ty, or I think the oldest person to win Big Brother in Tara. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think that that's the case.
No idea.
But either way, the first mother to win Big Brother, certainly. So like either way it shakes out.
It was Brayden, black gay man.
Yeah, that's true. That like totally slipped. Even like me as a gay man, like that just like totally slipped my own mind.
And you know, and we don't know for sure. This very well just could have been gameplay. And we know I know that there's been some talk specifically this past week about it too. But like we don't know what Ty's identity is. He very well could be like bi-romantic or by himself or anything like that too. But what I think is just so wonderful about this is that we have so many different identities here, whether they're social identities or personal identities. Personal identities, for those that don't know, are identities like you're a mother, or like your roles in life. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're an athlete, you're a musician, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But it would be amazing. So
I love this comment from Sassy Tanner. We should have had a black gay winner of BB Can. Thanks, Topaz, for accidentally voting for the wrong person in a 4-3 vote.
Oh, I've seen that. I have seen that. So
God bless Arissa Cox, who like that was her first season hosting ever, and she had to like make like a split decision in that moment. Adrian points out a really good comment. And to top it all off, we're looking at an oddballs versus sunsetters. We got 2 people from each side of the house, and we got 2 from the defenders and Destiny teams. So
that's really cool. I hadn't even thought of that.
You can't write it any better. Like, you cannot write this season any better. And like, usually at this point in the season, I'm like gassed out talking about Big Brother, but like, I am so pumped to see how this shakes out. And the live feeds are going to be down until, I think they said like 1 a.m. because they're filming they do like a clip show segment, like a BB Can Awards type of thing, which is pretty fun to watch in my opinion. But after that, we should know who the HOH is. So at least we're not going to be like shut out for like 4 days again to see who wins. But I think this HOH is very important for Tara in particular. So we'll see what happens with that. Beth, who ultimately do you think is the winner of BB Can 9?
I'm going to go with Ty because I want to win the draft.
Okay. I think ultimately it will be Kiefer that wins.
Okay.
Who do you want it to be?
Oh, okay. I guess Ty is who I want it to be.
Okay.
I think, Tara for your first one. Excuse me. I think Tara will win.
Okay.
And I think that I want Ty to win.
Okay. I think Kiefer will win. I want Tara to win. That's where I'm headed with that. And
I also would not be mad with Brayden winning. I'm not mad with any of them winning, but
I think if Brayden wins at the end, he will have done something like impressive in this end stretch to deserve that win. So I'll be okay with it.
I think he has done something impressive so far. Yeah. And I think that he has played his cards right. And I want us to be able to have conversations of it's okay not to have the flashiest game, but if you can prove it at the end, and if you know how to sell it to the jury at the end, then you deserve a win.
Yeah, I mean, if he has like a Todd from Survivor China-esque like jury speech at the end, fuck it all. Like, please take the 100,000. Like, you have earned it 1,000%. Yeah, if Brayden can pull it off, I think that's very impressive. Yep. If you guys are following along in the chat or want to leave us a comment, we want to see you guys lock in your official predictions for who is going to pull off the win for this season, and we'll see who is right and who is wrong. And if
we should let's put a poll on our Twitter. I'll do it right now.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So everybody go to our Twitter at MW_Meltdown. And when I finish posting this up, go and vote for who you think is going to win.
Yes. Matt says the winner is Canada and the viewing public. That is so true.
I mean, very true. We're so used to Canada and the viewing public losing. So
yes. Cool. Well, with that being said, we'll be back next week to cover the finale of Big Brother Canada 9. And then I think like during the finale show at the end, we'll be announcing like what's on our radar next to cover. So I'll leave you guys in BB Can style. I'll leave you a cliffhanger for that. And Beth, where else can we find you talking about one of my favorite shows?
Oh yeah. I am I'm on a podcast that I just started last month with my friend Dylan Zahner, and it's called Hot Mess Moments, and we talk about my favorite show of all time, The Nanny, and his favorite show of all time, Lost. It's our first time watching each other's favorite show. It's completely spoiler free. I know nothing of what happens in Lost. The only thing I do know about Lost is that there is a hatch of some sort at some point. That's the only thing I know. And I only know about it because of the Emmy intro in like 2005 that Conan O'Brien went through a hatch when he was supposed to be doing Lost. That's all. I don't know anything about the hatch. I just know there's a hatch and I
think that's okay to know. I don't think that ruins the experience at all.
I don't think so either. So that's all I know about Lost. Dylan has never watched The Nanny. And so he's experiencing what I think is the best sitcom of the 90s and one of the best sitcoms of all time. And we go episode by episode. We just launched today was our 5th episode where we talk about episode 5 for which was White Rabbit, for Lost, and for The Nanny is Here Comes the Brood.
Yes, and I'm keeping track of MVPs and LVPs, so I will have a giant spreadsheet of like who statistically is Beth's like favorite and least favorite characters, and same with Dylan as well. So
I'm so excited.
The nerdy stat guy in me is like very excited about that. But I love your theories so far talking about Lost.
I just know I'm right, and there's no way I'm wrong, right?
I mean, you have some pretty good observations. I'm not gonna lie, but
well, I feel like this is a show that I know I have to watch, and there will be times where I'm taking a note, and Dylan and I watch together, so we get on and we choose a time when we're gonna watch it, and then record afterwards. So thankfully the 2 shows together is an hour, and then podcasting takes about an hour or so it's only a couple hours altogether. But he'll be like, Beth, you missed that. We have to go back and you have to watch this scene. And I'm like, I looked down for 2 seconds. But of course, the first time he did that was when the guy with the suit and the shoes showed up when Jack was talking with Rose. Yeah. And I was taking a note. He's like, Beth, you missed it. And I was like, what? He was like,
it's good. I'm glad that he's like there to like steer you in what you need to pick up it, but not like spoiling it.
No, it's good. It's good.
Cool. All right. So yeah, check out Beth on Hot Mess Moments. And are you guys covering anything for the next season of RuPaul or anything like that? I don't know, like what's on the radar next for that for RHAP.
So for RHAP, we're not going to cover Down Under unless it happens to overlap at the same time as All Stars. All we know about All Stars is that it's coming out soon on Paramount Plus. So we assume soon means within a month. So we're taking at least a couple weeks break. We need it. I know that Down Under starts in 2 days, which is exciting.
Just like we need it with the challenge. So
Tyler, Down Under starts on May 1st. We know that All Star 6 is sometime. And then also they dropped the cast for Drag Race España. And I was just like, are we literally going to have 3 seasons at one time? Because that's not happening. Yeah. We don't have the bandwidth.
That's a lot of talking.
So, yeah. Yeah. So what we would do, and this is the largest, I know who's in the cast for All Star 6. It's the largest All Stars cast they've ever had. So I can only assume that normally it's a 8 to 10 episode All Stars thing. I think it's going to be 12 to 14 because of Paramount Plus. Yeah. So we're like, okay, so we're not going to cover these other things, but I do know that there are people who are interested in covering it. I don't know if it'll happen on RHAP officially or not, but I will be sure to promote those on my social media. So if you are looking for people to who are going to be talking about Down Under,
she's your gal.
Check me out. What about you, Tyler? Are you doing anything else that's fun?
I mean, wedding season is like really picking up for me. So like, that's where my focus is focusing on work for, once in the past 2 years, which is nice, very refreshing. But hopefully being a guest on, Hot Mess Moments soon, so I can talk some Lost with you guys.
Yes.
But, I mean, not really much else. I mean, Big Brother 23 is probably going to happen in like June or something like that. So I think a little downtime for us is going to be good to like recharge before I inevitably get frustrated at BBUS. But I can't wait for all of that. It's pain I like to subject myself to.
And like we said, I think next week what we're going to talk about is what my weekly meltdown will do for a weekly show moving forward between next week's finale and BB23. We have a couple ideas, and it would benefit both patrons and the general viewing public. So I think we're still going to stick with like one night, but we are considering, so you guys are aware, we're considering doing like a half an hour to 40-minute like BS breakdown kind of show on a weekly basis, but then transition to a patron only show of a rewatch of something that we're going to do.
Yeah, because we like talking like Allison's fine. She just needed like a little break for tonight. But like that is the heart of my weekly meltdown, is like the 3 of us just shooting the shit and being ridiculous. So we want to focus on that next before anything else. And I think that'll be fun. That'll be fun. So cool. I mean,
that is a good thing to say. If you're considering becoming a patron,
Yes.
Do it on May 1st because the billing cycle is always on the 2nd of each month. So or on May 2nd, really. So this Sunday, if you got paid this Friday, or if you're considering becoming a patron, you want to see what our content is going to be for the next month and a half before the next season of Big Brother starts, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/myweeklymeltdown. You'll be able to not only see the BS breakdowns that we're talking about, but we're considering doing something else that'll be fun for you to watch and listen.
Yeah, there you go.
I wonder what it'll be.
I don't know. We'll see. All right. Well, everybody, take care. We'll see you guys next week and have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Bye.